My dear students, I welcome you all for the fifth part of my video lecture on the course Botanical Gardening and Landscaping. In this lecture, we will be talking about the compost preparation, how to make compost at home. So it is 100% organic. On day one, you have all these raw materials which are waste materials from domestic waste, like for instance vegetable waste scraps, fruits, some amount of soil from your own garden, little amount of compost, and any leafy materials. To put it in natural, all the waste materials that we generate from our homes that can be made into a good manure, organic manure on day 30th. So how to do that? This is the YouTube link. You can watch it when you are free. And then, what is compost? It is referred as a black gold, karuppu thangam. How this compost has been generated? Through natural processes. So all the natural processes, they create this compost, especially the one which we refer it as decomposition. So all the materials that are capable of undergoing a proper decomposition can be utilized here. So the compost, once generated, it is rich in organic substances, rich in much of the nutrients. So it has overall health impacting manure for the gardens, not just the health of the garden but the overall health of all the agricultural and soil systems. And for this decomposition to take place, we require oxygen dependent bacteria and fungi and other microorganisms. And sustainable gardening and farming practices can be achieved by using this compost. ஸோ கம்போஸ்ட் அப்படிங்கிறத கருப்பு தங்கம்னு சொல்லலாம். இயற்கையான டீகம்போசிஷன் முறை மூலமாக இது நமக்கு கிடைக்குது. அதனால் நிறைய கரிம பொருள்கள், சத்துப்பொருள்கள் இதில் ரொம்ப அதிக அளவு தங்கி இருக்கு. இது நம்ம கார்டனுடைய நல்ல ஒரு ஆரோக்கியத்துக்கு மட்டும் இல்லாமல் விவசாய நிலத்திலையும் மண்ணை வளப்படுத்துறதுக்கும் கூட இது உபயோகமாக இருக்குது. இந்த கம்போஸ்ட் டீகம்போசிஷனில் உருவாகிற முறைக்கு நமக்கு உதவக்கூடிய நுண்ணுயிர்கள், பாக்டீரியா, ஃபஞ்சை, இன்னும் சில நுண்ணுயிர்கள். இதற்கு ஆக்சிஜன் தேவை. இது ஒரு சஸ்டைனபிள் கார்டனிங் ஃபார்மிங் ப்ராக்டிசஸ். இதை கருப்பு தங்கம் அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்கிறோம். ரைட், இதை ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணுறதுக்கு என்னென்ன மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் தேவை? ரெண்டாக பிரிச்சுக்கலாம். ஒன் இஸ் க்ரீன் மெட்டீரியல், another one is brown materials. Why should we go for green materials? Because they are the nitrogen source for the compost. Why should we go for brown materials? Because they impact carbon for the well-being of the soil and the plants. So we require nitrogen and we also require carbon source. So for green material as a nitrogen source, you can use fruit, vegetable scraps, grass clippings, coffee grounds, tea leaves, sachet or tea bags, fresh garden waste materials, and eggshells. This is to be powdered. You should not add, as in the picture, a full not a completely powdered one. You should not add. You should make it as a powder and add. So you can see all these waste materials. And for the brown ones, you can use dry leaves, you can use straw or hay, wood chips, you can use small branches, cardboard papers also you can use, but it shouldn't be glossy one. So non-glossy cardboard papers can also be used as a brown material which is rich in a carbon source. And then sawdust, which is an untreated wood. These all can be used to make compost. Other essential components are referred here in this slide, where you have to have water to be sprayed, and you should aerate the bacteria and fungi because they are aerobic in nature. with the oxygen dependent bacteria or fungi, they are only doing this decomposition. So it is very important that you should have good aeration. So only then the compost particles as a liquid film will be produced by the bacteria, I mean fungi, or decomposing microorganisms. So you can have the compost particle here, so that there will be a good airflow. So water and air, they are important essential components. Apart from that, you also have phosphate solubilizing bacteria. This you can get it as a powder or also as a liquid that you can add a little bit to the compost. So you can make compost in the tub or any waste buckets or any waste paint buckets. Anything can be used. So you have to make all these waste materials ready. Then you have to pile them up one by one. So you have to choose a compost site first of all. Then you have to layer them, like you have to add one layer of soil, then one layer of all these vegetable waste, again one layer of soil, again vegetable waste, then sprinkle little bit water, add water, little bit water, sprinkle it, then again one layer of soil, one layer of waste materials, like that, then add little bit water. So turn the pile properly, the fourth step. So using this you can turn the pile, and then you have to monitor the temperature and moisture so that you can have a good compost. It shouldn't be too high temperature, shouldn't be too moisture. So you have to maintain it appropriately so that you will be able to get it. Then comes the curing part. You'll be able to see a complete good one. So you have layering technique, and then you have to add water, turn the pile, and then finally you have to monitor temperature and moisture so that the curing can be done properly. So these are all some of the steps involved in this. And the conditions which are required for the optimal compost: moisture, there will be moisture, ஈரப்பதம் இருக்கணும், but it shouldn't be too much waterlogged condition. And the temperature, there must be high temperature so that there will be quick composting, and it can also control pathogens. There should be good aeration so that aerobic bacteria which can speed up the composting. And the balance of materials, say for instance 3:1 ratio, like carbon to nitrogen. So increased nitrogen may produce foul, bad smell from the compost. If there is increased carbon, then there will be slow decomposition. So this part you have to take in mind, that it should be balance of materials, 3:1 carbon to nitrogen ratio to be produced. And the particle size, you should not add bigger waste materials. You should chop them into smaller pieces. You should shred them literally so that these particles can easily decompose. So what are the things that are present in the compost? Nutrients. One is nitrogen. Excuse me. Very important for the foliage and growth development. Phosphorus is very much important for the root development and flowering. A third important aspect is potassium, NPK. This is important for the disease resistance and water uptake, as well as for photosynthesis. Apart from this nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, you also have calcium, zinc, copper, magnesium and sulfur. So other micronutrients are also present in the compost. That's why we repeatedly say they are very good for soil health as well as for the growth of the plants in the garden. And what are the benefits of compost? There are a lot many benefits that you can see when you use compost. It enhances the soil fertility, it enhances the soil structure, there will be good microbial activity in the soil, it retains water sufficiently for the growth of the plants, and above all, it is environmentally friendly. When you use compost, it is environmentally friendly. When you use chemical fertilizers, you will get the results quickly, but they are not eco-friendly. They will harm the environment, they will harm the soil, they will harm ultimately the human beings and all the other pollinators in the ecosystem. And very importantly, soil erosion is checked when you use sufficient amount of compost at the appropriate stage of the plant growth at the appropriate time. So reduce the soil erosion is a very important aspect. And what are the disadvantages of compost? Every coin has got two sides, positive and negative. Here in compost also we have something like that. It is a time consuming process. If you do everything properly, minimum 30 days for a best compost to get it requires. And so time consuming. And sometimes if there is no proper ratio of nitrogen and green and brown materials, there will be odors, bad smell from that. And sometimes they may attract pests also, so that will be a menace to us. And if you do not add 3:1 ratio, and if you add randomly, there will be variable nutrient content. So you may not know what content you have in the compost, so that we have to be a little bit correct in using them. So that is all about the compost. We will be doing as a part of an assignment in the college this compost preparation. So all of you will be doing, so that you will have a better understanding about that. Please, students, I am repeatedly saying, kindly watch all these videos, not for shares or likes or subscription, but for your academic purpose. Watch these videos, have a notebook side by side, make a mind map, and if you don't understand any words, kindly refer, or you can ask me in the class directly. And please take things seriously, please study properly. Thank you. Let's see in the next video.